Welcome to the Swoop, BG Falcon Media's live sport talk show. Bowling Green Athletics is in full swing with 9 programs underway this week, so there's no better time to talk sports. I'm your host, Lucas Clemmar, and I'm joined by 2 sports analysts from the Falcon Media Sports Network, Holden Ruck, Brooke Blake. Thank you guys for joining me today.
Thank you.
This week, I was asked to host the Swoop due to Chaz, Mr. Swoop McNeil, traveling with the Falcons volleyball team. This past week, Mr. Swoop was able to sit down and interview setter Amanda Otten and was sweet, to say the least.
I'm Chaz McNeil here at the Stroh Center with a Falcon setter showing off a sweet hobby.
Sophomore setter Amanda Otten has certainly been cooking up on the court this season, but she also has a second, much tastier talent hidden up her sleeve.
Ever since I was little, I've always absolutely loved baking.
This passion is more than just a mere hobby, as Otten has her eyes set on much bigger things.
I just always knew that I wanted to go to college for business and I wanted to start my own bakery from scratch, making my own.
Whenever she gets the chance, the setter tries to spread her treats to whoever she can.
Through our Dream Big fundraisers, I was able to bake. I made cheesecake brownies the past 2 years, and then last year I made cake pops, and this year I made cookies, and I'm already getting asked if I'm taking orders, but
Her drive for baking was certainly picked up by Falcon volleyball head coach Daniela Tomic, who's helped point her in the right direction since day one.
And I know when we recruited her, when we were talking about her possible major, and she said business and why she wanted to go in business because she wanted to own her own bakery. We said, okay, let's find ways, so we're going to make sure to help you.
Otten's dreams are more than just that, as she has already seen a flow of customers with her business, Mandy's Candies.
as I got older, as I baked more, over COVID, I actually started selling some baked goods, and because I had so much time, I printed out a little logo for myself, decorated, had different catering orders actually as well, and it just kind of made it feel real.
The biggest roadblock right now is space, with dorm life not making it easy for the future baker. But that won't stop Otten in the future from spreading her talent.
So hopefully next year and the year after, I'll really be able to start kind of selling my goods, spreading the joy, and just showing everybody that they always deserve a sweet treat.
Chaz McNeil, The Swoop, and Falcon Media Sports Network.
I gotta say, guys, it's always cool to see what athletes, what their passions are, off the court or off the field, whatever sport it may be. And for the case for Amanda, she came across very passionate, very driven, and if you're gonna own a business in the future, it takes a certain type of personality. And just by watching that, Amanda seems to have it.
You're right, Lucas, and it's really cool to see. If you've ever watched Bowling Green volleyball, you know exactly what kind of person she is on the court, but off the court, she clearly has a lot of the same drive that makes her as good of a volleyball player as she is.
Yeah, and I'm going to add on to that. I feel like, especially being a college athlete, you need to have something you're passionate about other than your sport, because you can get really consumed in playing your sport and get, like, if you lose, then your whole life feels like it's ending. But having that one passion, that one thing to escape and go to is so important for college athletes. And I want to add, I think it's so important how our head coach, Daniela Tomic, has been supporting her throughout this. It definitely feels nice to have that support with your business.
I had the opportunity to attend the Dream Big event before the season started, so I had the chance to try some of Amanda's sweet treats, and they were pretty good. They were pretty good, to say the least. And, I mean, on the court, Otten, dynamic, reliable player for the Falcons, a big blocking threat, great offensive player, 2-time MAC setter of the week so far this season, and MAC offensive player of the week as well. So looking to see Otten for the rest of the season and see how she does in her career that doesn't include volleyball as well. All right, moving on to the ice. BGSU hockey is finally here, along with first-year head coach Dennis Williams. The Falcons are 2-0 this season, with wins over Mercyhurst in early October, and last week BG played Simon Fraser and Robert Morris in exhibition matches at the Slater Family Ice Arena, winning both games in convincing fashion. And what are sort of your guys' expectations going into this year for this program? You know, new coach, Dennis Williams, a former Falcon in his own right, a lot of experience coaching hockey, a lot of expectations, a lot of excitement surrounding this team right now.
Well, I think you've got to win, Lucas, and you've got to win big. I'm not saying that necessarily the expectation is there for conference title yet. At the same time, I think that Bowling Green knows that this is a guy that can bring you there, but you gotta move forward from last year. You've had some hot stretches, and then you have cold stretches, and win in the playoffs. That seems like a big one, win in the tournament.
Yeah, and like you said, I think it's a stretch to completely win your conference. So I think just competing to be the top 4 in the conference and at least go to playoffs is definitely an expectation. I also think we're seeing a lot of play by younger players. For example, Adam Zelinka, he scored on Sunday. Maxwell Martin, he scored twice this weekend. He had an assist on the game on Sunday as well. So I think players like that we're going to see a lot more from. And all your captains besides Nora sat out on the game to Sunday to let the freshmen have their chance to play. And I think that was really important to see and see how the team is going to grow, especially under new head coach Dennis Williams. Definitely going to be changes. Also, if we're thinking back and looking back at last year, they had a lot of issues off the ice, the team, and I think it's hard to bounce off of. So.
Absolutely, and like you mentioned, a lot of freshmen got minutes in those games this past weekend. They're returning 20-plus players from previous seasons, and when you're ushering a new regime under Dennis Williams, you got to rely on your veterans. You got to rely on your guys through the highs, through the lows, and they're only in their 3rd game this season, but those players are going to be very important all season long, especially those veterans, those juniors, and those seniors. And to go along with what you both are saying, you got to win. You got to win, especially in the postseason. I think it's safe to say that the hockey program here is either the biggest or at least one of the biggest programs among sports. It has a big fan base, and they have a lot of expectations every year. And last year, you have an up and down season. You don't have a good regular season record. You lose to Michigan Tech. Okay, fine. But the year before that, you have a good regular season. You kind of teeter off towards the end, and you lose at home to Ferris State. Not really good enough. Not really good enough. The Falcon faithful once more. They want to win, and they want to win championships. That's right. All right. So moving on to a topic that's less exciting than hockey. There's controversy surrounding the Battle of I-75 halftime show against the University of Toledo. Nothing to do with the actual teams, but instead with the Falcon Marching Band. The Falcon Marching Band was told by BGSU leaders that they won't be marching at halftime, although they had been planning to for months. Halftime would be used for the University of Toledo's Hall of Fame introductions and UT's marching bands in a press release from August 1st. Toledo announced their Varsity T Hall of Fame class will be introduced at the football game versus Bowling Green during halftime, with no mention of limiting the Falcons marching band's performance. The Swoop reached out to UT's Vice President of Marketing and Communication to find out 2 things. How long ago was this decision made, and when was the Falcon Marching Band informed? We have not gotten a response. Hundreds of people have reacted to our story on social media. Now, Holden, I'm going to toss it to you. This is obviously a subject that you can relate to. You are part of the Falcon Marching Band. What more can you tell us on this story?
Well, as a member of the band, I think it's really just unfortunate the way things have gone down. You think about college football and you think about the pageantry, the traditions of it, the things like the bands and the student engagement. Those are what makes it so great. That's why everybody loves college football. And you're taking away a big part of that. And no less in a rivalry game when this is a team that you see year in and year out. It's a day that the football team circles on their calendar at the start of the year, and that's no different for the band. It's been something that has been talked about. It's a trip this year for them and something that's been looked forward to all year. And it's just disappointing to see such a departure from the pageantry that we're used to. And yeah, it's just disappointing to see.
Definitely. But let's move on to more positive news. Now into our Athlete of the Week. Our winner this previous week is BGSU women's soccer freshman goalkeeper Peyton O'Malley. The freshman keeper from Pittsburgh was outstanding in the Falcons' 1-1 draw against the Buffalo Bulls, making 6 saves against a Buffalo team who have just one loss on the season and once upon a time this year were nationally ranked. O'Malley has stepped in for the injured starting goalkeeper, junior Madison Vukas, and has been spectacular in between the posts. For more information on O'Malley, check out bgfalconmedia.com. Now, it's time to look ahead into the next week's Athlete of the Week, and there are a lot of good choices with how loaded the upcoming schedule is. So, I guess I'll start out with this one. I'm going with BGSU men's soccer's junior striker, Trace Terry. 10 goals, 1 assist on the year. first in the country for game-winning goals. At one point this season, had a 6-goal game stretch this year, and as of Tuesday, was ranked number 16 nation by Top George Soccer for all NCAA Division I men's soccer players. I have the ability to cover Trace Terry every week. He is a player, has been spectacular this year. His maturation and maturity from this year to last year has just been superb. And not for nothing, it is Halloween season. They call Trace Terry Scary Terry. That's one of his nicknames. And this weekend they have a big game against number 15, Missouri State. I think he's going to show up. He's going to show up big. He's going to get on those goal sheet, and the Falcons are going to pull away with a win.
So for my projection, I'm going with junior forward Brett Foe on the men's hockey team. So a few weeks ago, he was named CCHA Forward of the Week this season just after their games at Mercyhurst, where he scored twice in one game. One of those was the overtime winning goal. Last season, he played in 34 games, recording 9 goals and 6 assists, totaling in 15 points. He's an upperclassman this year. It's finally his junior year. I think we're going to really see him start to lead the team and honestly up his scoring levels from last year. As I said, he had 9 goals last year, which is right behind Ryan O'Hara, who had 10 goals, 18 points last year. So I think we're going to see a lot from him, especially in the game tonight against Western Michigan. It's a crucial game. They're also 2-0. So I'm excited to see how he plays this weekend.
Those are both really great predictions and athletes that I also think stand to have strong performances, but I think I smell a little bit of favoritism in the sports pick. So I'm going to go with Joseph Sipp Jr. on the football team. The linebacker is second on the team in sacks, with 4. He had 7 tackles and a sack against Northern Illinois last week, and they're hosting a Kent State team that's winless on the year and has given up 18 sacks in their 6 games this year. That's 3 a game. He's second on the team, 4 sacks. Look for him to have a big performance.
Did I sense a little dig there in terms of favoritism from you, Holden?
I don't think a dig per se, perhaps just some commentary.
Commentary, yeah.
I think if we're talking about favoritism, there hasn't been a hockey athlete of the week yet. So there's been soccer and football. I think it's time for hockey.
Fair enough.
That's a good point.
Fair enough. But how did your Alexis Mattil pick go last week, Holden?
Well, I think Alexis Mattil still had a very strong performance. Wouldn't you agree?
True. But there were others that might have just been just a little bit better, like Peyton O'Malley.
Well, that's true. We can't all have the gift of prophecy as Mr. Swoop does.
That's true. That's true indeed. Well, we'll see. We'll see if one of our picks come to fruition this weekend as well. And that's all we have. Coming up, we have Lathan Chapman with your BG Sports updates of the week, only on the Swoop.
Reporting for the Swoop, I'm Lathan Chapman. Last Saturday, the BGSU football team would take a tough loss against Northern Illinois in the Doit. To open the game, Northern Illinois would hit a 46-yard field goal, but the Falcons struck back with an 11-yard Harold Fannin Jr. touchdown. The game would stay close through four quarters until the Huskies would score 11 unanswered points to put the game out of reach and win with a final score of 17-7. Despite the loss, senior quarterback Connor Bazelak would hit a career milestone, being the 41st player in FBS history to throw for 1,000 career completions. Junior tight end Harold Fannin Jr. also broke the Bowling Green single-season receiving record for a tight end and now has 702 receiving yards on the year. Bowling Green will host Kent State this Saturday at 3:30 for Family Weekend and look to get back on track with a win. Transitioning into volleyball, the Falcons had a tough stretch at home last weekend. Last weekend, the Falcons hosted Eastern Michigan and suffered a devastating loss. Both teams kept up the intensity all the way through 5 sets. In the 5th set, the Falcons and the Eagles traded blows until Eastern Michigan went on a 3-0 run to take the cake and win the game, snapping the Falcons' hot streak in 5-set games. The very next day, the Orange and Brown hosted Central Michigan Chippewas. The game was tight, and eventually both teams found themselves in a 5-set battle. Central Michigan ended up winning the 5th set, handing Bowling Green their 2nd consecutive Mid-American Conference loss on the year. BGSU now sits 4th in the congested MAC standings. The Falcons look to turn around and get back on track in New York against the University of Buffalo today at 6 p.m. I'm Lathan Chapman reporting for the Swoop. Stick around for the wrap-up, where you'll find information on upcoming sport events.
Welcome back to the wrap-up, where we update you on the sports happening in the next week. Tonight, volleyball takes on the Buffalo Bulls on the road in a massive game in the MAC. You can catch the broadcasts with Chaz McNeil, otherwise known as Mr. Swoop, on Falcon Radio at 7 p.m. Also tonight, BG Hockey returns to action against Western Michigan. You can listen to the broadcast tonight on WBGU 88.1 FM. Falcon Media Sports Network's Ben Korak will be on the call. And this weekend, football hosts the winless Kansas State Golden Flashes on Saturday. Falcons looking to get their second MAC win of the season. And Sunday night, men's soccer takes on number 15 ranked Missouri State in a huge battle for first place in the Missouri Valley Conference. With that, have a phenomenal week, and don't forget to check out bgfalconmedia.com for more sports, features, recaps, and be sure to swoop in the next time here on The Swoop.